Assalamualaikum everyone. Today my topic is feminism in Pakistan, a confused society. First of all, let me share a few nuggets from history. Back in 1902, about 300 women, or men and women both, organized a protest. They, for the first time, organized a march in New York City in 1902. Their leader, Elizabeth Cady Stanton, is popularly accredited with coining the term feminism. That movement has now continued for a century and now become a force of nature that we see in our world today. Now, I'm going to talk a little bit about feminism so everyone is on the same page. Feminism, although it sounds complex, let me take solace in the fact that I will be explaining it in very simple terms. Basically, feminism originates from the word femme and talks about equal rights for men and women both. There are three parts to feminism. The first is social rights, the second is political rights, and the last, economic rights. If I talk about the very first one and just give you simple examples, the social right would be a woman's right to go to a police station and make a complaint that she wishes, the right to own a passport and travel anywhere that she wishes, the right to drive an automobile with a license, like we saw recently in Saudi Arabia. Economic rights are about her right to employment, her right to grow in her career, to be able to aspire towards leadership positions. It could also be about owning and running a business or about inheriting property from her father, mother, or any other relative that is there. The third one, the last, is political right. Basically, the right to choose your leader and be able to cast your vote in a ballot box. Now, since I've talked about feminism in very simple terms, I will now share a personal story about mine, and it is very interesting. Back in 2019, I was working at TCS Pakistan, and I was talking to my colleague Yusra, who is the social media manager over there. We were casually talking about marriages, and I knew that Yusra's position was tilting towards feministic views. So I asked her, Yusra, how will you and your husband manage financial expenses? And this is what I heard. Of course, Bichar, he is responsible for the financial side. He will provide for the grocery, for the utility bills. It's his responsibility. Islam has given him that responsibility. Okay, Yusra, then what about you? What will you do with your salary? Well, Bichar, I will keep my salary for myself. Of course, you know how girls are. I have to go shopping, I have to buy gifts for others, I have to go for my beauty hygiene, makeup. You know how women have expenses, so I'll manage with that. When I heard this, I realized deep within her there was a hypocritical side when it comes to this issue of feminism. And you would not believe the nerve on her when she said this to me. In fact, Bijar, you know what? I think I'm going to ask my husband for a pocket money. It's my right, and it's his right to take care of me. Islam says that. And then I took a step back and absorbed the fact that this preferential treatment is something that she desires. I understood the hypocrisy within her. Now, during this entire conversation, another colleague of ours was sitting there, Hamad. I've known Hamad for 5 years, and he asked a very interesting question. He said, Yusra, let me ask you this. If you go to a bank and there's a long line. Usually, when you're paying bills, there's a long line, right? There's a long line for men. Maybe the women's line is very short or is not there. Do you encourage having separate lines for men and women? Hamad, you know how Pakistani men are. Of course, there should be separate line for women. They don't want to stand a long line for that long. We're delicate creatures. And that is a view that I've kept in my head for a very long time when it comes to feminism in Pakistan. Now, I understand that is just one person's opinion. It does not cover the entire Pakistan. Over the last few years, I've interacted with a few other colleagues, both urban, both educated, coming from decent family backgrounds. And believe you me, I have heard similar discourses. Very rarely have I come across a balanced narrative. So, ladies and gentlemen, this VIP treatment, this preferential treatment that you talk about on one side, and then you talk about feminism on the other side, isn't this hypocrisy? I leave you with this question today. Is this VIP treatment fair? Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. That will be all.